All right, I'm seeing some things in vet that aren't looking good for the near term, and I want to talk about those in this video right here. What I have right in front of me is the daily chart for vet, and we're going to take a look at that in just a second. Before, however, I want to go to one of my favorite tools, that is tradingview.com, and look at their technical analysis for VeChain. Let's see what they've got going on. On the 1 day, they're showing a sell on VET. This is a smaller time frame 1 day. Oscillators are showing sell moving averages a sell. On the 1 week, looks a little better with a buy. Oscillators are neutral, moving averages a strong buy. And on the 1 month, we also see a buy. Oscillators are buy, moving averages are buy. So let me get to the disclaimer. Here's the disclaimer for every video on this YouTube channel. Be sure to take a look at it, read it carefully. It will also be in the notes of this video. So before we get into this video deeply, I want you to understand I'm not talking about long-term prognostications for VET. I believe in the long term, VET will go up. I am a holder of VET. I believe in VET, and I'm hoping that over the long term, we see continuous rise in VET. But I am seeing some things that are causing concern here for the next few days, next few weeks, maybe month. Let's see what we have. All right, so we had this fantastic run up in all of crypto and VET in particular from about the middle of October to about Christmas Day in VET, if I recall. And we actually saw a high of almost 0.04. We didn't quite tag 0.04, but we saw a nice high of 0.04. Since then, we have just seen a continuous decline. This is the high. We saw a low just a few days ago on the 8th of January, all the way down to about 0.027. So that's a pretty big fall from 0.04 rounded to 0.027. That's a pretty big drop. And this was the run up. I identified while we were in the going through December, this area of 0.033 to 0.035 to be a critical area. You could see it was a critical area just because every time price fell into that range, it was bought back up. Several instances of that. We see wicks all over the place in this range. The day that we had that Bitcoin flush, which was the morning of January 3rd for me, and they had that Bitcoin flush, we'll look at that on Bitcoin. It was here. See the big Bitcoin flush from 45,000 down to 41,000. That happened because there was absolutely unsubstantiated rumors that had gone around that the SEC was going to deny the Bitcoin ETFs. Well, of course, that did not happen. Even if it would have, those would have just been unsubstantiated rumors. But that flush caused this bar in VET that day on the 3rd of January. And we lost this area of support, this rectangular area. And we broke even through down through 0.03, which I find to be a very critical area for VET. Of course, price started gradually creeping back up over time. The ETFs did get approved, and VET saw some nice moves up, but there is a problem. The problem is this resistance, as we went through, it was resistance, turned into support, now has become resistance again. And that means price has gotten up to this range right here, but has not been able to break it. That is a problem. Whenever you see levels turn from support to resistance and vice versa, that's a problem. Right now, this area is capping any moves up by VET. And it has been strongly rejected today down to where we've even tested this 0.03 again already today. Let me get rid of this. Okay. You'll also notice something else critical. I'm going to zoom out to the weekly. This blue line right here is a trend line that I've been keeping an eye on that is bounded by these highs back between in 2022 and 23. That line comes right through here and intersects time wise 0.03 right now. If I look at the daily, here's this blue line. What that indicates for me is obviously 0.03 is a very big critical round number. Because it's a round number, humans pay attention to it. Look, we're going to pay attention to 0.03, not 0.028669290, right? That's just human nature. And so 0.03 is a very critical level, which coincides with this trend line coming down. Here's the trend line. 0.03 is a very critical level for VET to hold. Right now, we're ranging between 0.03 and this 0.035. I do have some situations though, which cause me to believe we're actually going to lose this 0.03 here in the near future. Let's go back to Bitcoin. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin had been in this rising, still is in this rising channel, noted by these higher highs and higher lows by these blue lines since December. And even after we had that Bitcoin flush, which is this day right here, the 3rd of January, this rising channel still contained that. We actually poked out of this channel a few days before the ETFs were approved, okay, and started challenging 48,000. So everything was looking good. But since the ETFs have been approved, it looks like that approval was already priced into the price of Bitcoin, and people are now starting to take profit at this 48,000 level. And some people that I watch with crypto say that 48 to 50,000 level was going to be a strong resistance point, and they would not be surprised if we fell back down on Bitcoin and had to basically find some newer foundation before we can move back up. That appears that is what is happening right now. We have basically gone back into this rising channel. We're still sitting at about 43,000 and some change. It's not going to surprise me over the next day or two for us to challenge the bottom of this channel. And look at this weekly. This weekly is nasty. Here's the rising channel we've been in December since for Bitcoin. Look at this weekly, a big spike up to this resistance level, but now we have rejected that resistance level. We have made a huge wick even below the second resistance level of around 45,000. And this week is almost done. Looks like we very well may close below 45,000 with a huge wick on top. That's not a good look, because what that means is as price got to this point, it found a bunch of sellers, and sellers have pushed the price down. Okay. So it's not going to surprise me to see Bitcoin fall back to hit this bottom of this channel. And it wouldn't even surprise me to see it break below the bottom of this channel and hit 40,000 again. If Bitcoin does that, VET's going to fall. That's just the way it is. We've had a fantastic last quarter of last year. We were all waiting for the approvals of ETFs. The price has been staying near the highs after these fantastic runs. We had so many things going for us, but it looks like it's time for a break. Now, this is the weekly on VET. Let me go back to the daily. One thing you cannot help but see on the daily for VET is after we made this high right here on in December, ever since then we've been seeing lower highs and lower lows. Here's a lower low, here's a lower high, here's a lower low, so far a lower high. Lower lows and lower highs is a result of price falling. If Bitcoin loses this channel and starts challenging this 40,000, that I believe is going to lose 0.03 and wind up in this area between 0.03 and 0.024. Now, what is it going to do there? It's really hard to say, but I do believe that's where we are headed. I could be wrong. I could wake up in 2 days and find Bitcoin over 50,000. You really could see that. So I'm not saying this is definitely what's going to happen. I'm just saying this seems to be the way we're trending in VET. Again, long term, I'm fine with VET. Long term, I'm optimistic with VET. Long term, I still hold VET. But it does look like we might start seeing some bases into this range right here. and we might have to start getting comfortable with the idea that VET may revisit this range. But let's zoom out for the sake of optimism. Let's zoom out where we are. Look, this is where we were just a few months ago, back here in October and September. We were down here at 0.015. We were still making lows. Goodness, we were still at 0.015 at the beginning of 2023. So a year ago, we were at 0.015. Today, we're at 0.031. So we've doubled. So it's not all bad news. We've had a fantastic run the last part of this last year, and we still have a lot of those gains, but we're going to have to find out what happens next. And like I said, would not surprise me to start seeing us dip down into this area below 0.03. We'll just have to wait and see. Either way, I'll keep you updated. Thanks for visiting. Come back and we'll watch VET prices together.